Welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core number 85. This is a reaction to She-Hulk number 6. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How's your week going?
Pretty good. You know me, I faked my death to get out of a bad marriage, all of that stuff. I'm immortal. No, my week has been pretty good so far. I cannot complain. But we have a new episode of She-Hulk to talk about. So I say we dive right in.
Yeah.
Complete with, a immortal guy who's faking his death to get out of all sorts of bad marriages.
Wild.
And stuff like that. Yeah. As I feel like that's a thing that has happened. Like, I've seen something similar to that in some other work, some other fiction. Immortal fakes their death to go start a new life somewhere else, right?
But has anybody else done it 8 times?
I don't know. He might hold the record. Right? He might be like, hey, Guinness Book of World Records, you should get over here.
So my question is, why do you think this guy is immortal? Within Marvel canon, nobody seems perplexed that he's immortal. They're not like, wow, I didn't know that was one of the superpowers flying around the world now.
There's no,
they're like, all right, you're immortal. How do we deal with this legally?
Yeah, there's no follow-up question to be like, okay, so are you an Eternal? Are you are you an alien? Did you drink something? Did you fall into a giant vat of acid? Right. Is this an ancient
Are you a
curse?
mutant? Yeah. Is this Wolverine? We don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this guy's origin is. I don't really know if he is going to be important or not. I don't know if he's a character that I should know.
Yeah, same.
I remember seeing him in like one of the TV spots, like as he gets off of the car and he's straightening out his suit and stuff like that. I was expecting someone to jump out the window and land on a car. Apparently it's this guy who's kind of a douchebag. And I liked this episode. It's kind of more of the same of what I thought from last week of like, it's not my favorite, but I still like it. Like, the show is good, and I'm still glad that it's not trying to be the next big thing, the next big event, or like it is this week to week. They can just goof off and have fun and do this one-off thing about this guy who's been in 8 divorces and 8 fake deaths. So
I thought this episode was fun. I do like that the show has the space to do lighter episodes that have very minimal plot importance, but do a lot for the characters. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with the supporting cast separate from Jen. I like that we meet Jen's best friend, Nikki, and then Nikki spends all last episode with Pug, and now she spends all this episode with Mallory Book. I like that they are trying characters in different combinations where one of the people in the combination doesn't have to be our main character.
That's been a lot of fun. I like her. She is a good supporting character as well. I think what was interesting to me is then how quickly she also kind of formed a bond with Mallory, right? Because there's the scene she's sitting cross-legged on the table with all of the women
so cute.
that had gotten divorced, and she's sitting there like, all right, you're gonna get paid out for back work. You're gonna get a sincere apology with 15 seconds of like stuff that these women actually want from him. But she is so excited to announce that like this is what they're getting, and immediately just has this connection with the other women in the room here. And like I said, including Mallory, like they're on the same page when they're like, all right, we don't like you. We will fucking judge you. But we'll still get you the best deal. but you're also gonna pay. Like, we are gonna be a little bit petty here in this. And they know exactly what to do without even really vocalizing it. Which I loved. I was like, oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. I like that we get to see that Nikki is good at her job and she enjoys her job separate from just being Jen's sidekick.
Right.
Like, she also could have a future in this company even if Jen wasn't there.
Exactly. Yeah, that stuff was really, really good. I liked all of that. I there is a small part of me that does wish it was a little bit more plot relevant. I think that's like the seed of that is starting to form in the back of my mind there, especially since we only have a handful of there's what, like 3 more left? 4 more left after this?
There's 3.
Like
I think there's 9 total.
Yeah, so there's not too much left, and I do want a little bit, and I'm kind of worried that however they decide to end this season might not be super satisfying because they haven't really given it the time of day. But maybe they have, and we just don't know it, right? Maybe it is. I mean, we did at the end of this one get introduced to the intelligentsia. And there's the creepy guy she went on a date with that was the mega fit. Like, I think there are seeds of this in there, but even still, I'm wondering, like, will we be satisfied by the end here? Who knows?
I've been satisfied. I think the show's got 3 things it's trying to accomplish. This sci-fi plot angle of people coming after Jen's blood, people wanting She-Hulk out of the picture or wanting to take She-Hulk's power. We've got that. We've got her conflict with Titania. We've got her career. We've got the various legal cases. And we have her dating life. And I think I like what the show is doing with all the other plot lines. I think they're handled well. I really like that in this episode we get her starting to feel for Titania a little bit, or at least see, oh, this is kind of a sad woman. Maybe I feel more pity for her than anger. We've got at least that much development. She meets a cute guy in this episode who does like Jen, doesn't even know or care that she's She-Hulk, just likes Jen. We've got a really fun legal case. And I think if they put as much into this slower burn plot storyline as they are into the other storylines, I think it can all end satisfactory.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great assessment of the show so far. Man, I'm still really excited to see more of these new outfits that she has that can fit both her as Jen and She-Hulk. That is fantastic. Still waiting to see Daredevil, though I was kind of expecting a little bit more of it this one, but we didn't get that, and that is A-okay. And I know we're gonna see her fight with Daredevil, or not with Daredevil, but like in a team up down the road. So I'm excited for that. But you mentioned her conflict with Titania. Let's talk about that next. Jen gets invited to a wedding. She gets asked to be a bridesmaid in this one, and oh my god, I absolutely hated all of the glitter stuff. That is the worst to clean up. You have it like on you for a week, even if you've showered like 6 or 7 times. It's just like, why is it still here? How?
The one time I was asked to be a bridesmaid, it was from a coworker, and she just left a donut on my desk when I got there to work. And like wrote a note on the paper towel that was underneath.
Why is there glitter in this donut?
I did really appreciate that this storyline comes out of nowhere, and she acknowledges that it came out of nowhere in her life, and how she's like, the bride is, she's like an old school friend. We grew up in the neighborhood. She knows my family. Like, we haven't really talked, but I guess we were close enough in our youth that she felt like she owed it to me. Like, you were I should be one of her bridesmaids
to me at one point in my life. Yeah.
And I like that that's the dynamic these two have. Like, I don't know you as an adult, but if I was 13 and I had to make a list of my bridesmaids, you would have been on it. So here you are today.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so she goes to this wedding as She-Hulk. She's trying to like just be She-Hulk more out in public, and stuff like that, and just own that identity. And she gets there, and the bride is upset, and it's just like, you're gonna steal the show if you do this. Like, that's I don't want this. I want you to be Jen. And in like, especially since last week, she kind of had to prove that, like, hey, yes, I actually do want to be She-Hulk. Kind of, this is a weird one for her to then see the opposite side of that, where it's like, hey, maybe you're a little too flamboyant with the green skin here. Like, you're a little too attention grabbing here. We don't want that. And it's just another aspect of her identity, her new identity as She-Hulk that she has to get used to. And I like that a lot. But that, it hurts her, I think, right? Like, she gets like taken aback, like caught off guard, like, oh no, this is your day, like, what are you talking about? And just spit all over my mic and stuff. Wonderful. But as she's kind of struggling with that, Titania shows up, and I think this is kind of that extra gut punch of like, wait, why is She-Hulk too much but Titania is not? Have you seen her? Have you seen what, like, the outfit she's in? Like, what is happening? What were your thoughts on all of this, and then her eventual fight here with Titania?
I do like that Titania is low enough to attack Jen after Jen has promised, I won't be She-Hulk. I'll let this be the bride's day. I'll just be mousy little Jen. And Jen's like, really? You're attacking me when I'm like this, when I'm a small drunk woman? And she tries to change into She-Hulk, and she's too drunk, and it takes a couple tries.
She's like, I forgot how to do it.
And I like that this leads to her seeing that for all of her bravado, Titania really doesn't have anything else in her life, which makes me even more curious about who is this lady. Like, last week we talked about, when are we going to learn how she got her powers? Why is she so strong?
Yeah.
Now it's like, what is the rest of your life? Like, where did you come from? Where did you grow up? Why do you do this? Why do you have this specific animosity with She-Hulk? Is it just because you're both strong women in Los Angeles? Is there some forgotten personal connection? Like, no, we were in 6th grade together, and you sat at my lunch table once, and you never sat at my lunch table again, and I always wondered why. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think she's continually, as much as she is this big, broad, larger than life satirical character, I think that's been something the show has done well when it wants to do it well, is these characters, thinking about like Madison, who are these stereotypes. They are jokes, but they also get to have this element that is really sincere about them also.
Agreed.
And even if Titania isn't a nice person, we are getting more of her personhood, of her humanity coming out. Also, I think her pink suit is my favorite Titania outfit so far. She's got some great looks. Love the pink suit.
I would have to imagine that maybe she feels like MySpace and She-Hulk is Facebook, right? And it like MySpace just sees it. They see the numbers. They see everyone jumping ship, and she's just like, no, stop! No, look at me! I'm over here. She-Hulk by Titania. Thank you. And like, you know, she's trying to keep the spotlight on her, and maybe doesn't want to share that. And maybe you're right. Maybe there was some kind of traumatic event, however big or small, that meant a lot to her, right? That inspired her, or set her up with the wrong people or the wrong products or the wrong company to eventually turn her into what she is today, and to think the way she thinks today and act that way. Who knows? But yeah, I hopefully we do get to learn a little bit more about that, because I would like to see that come to a head too, and not like I hope they don't reveal everything. Is
Mhm.
I guess my reservation on that, right? I hope that if and when we get a season 2 of She-Hulk, that there is still more to learn about her, right? And that we get
Mhm.
to dive deeper into her character. Will she meet Crusher Creel eventually, and will they fall in love
Yeah.
and stuff like that? Man, I still always think back to that page in the Mighty Thor comics
Mm.
when Jane Foster Thor shows up and she's like, wait, you're Thor's a woman now? All right, just this once, like we'll let you arrest us. Like power to you. Like my
Yeah.
husband is an asshole. I get it. Like,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
It's such a
Titania.
great, yeah. It's a
I like
wonderful
Titania
page.
in the comics. I like that she is more of a like she'll spar with you for the sport of it.
Yes.
Like she's a bit of a more well-rounded person who's more of like an athlete
Yeah.
than she is a criminal. Yeah.
I hope she gets to that point.
Mhm.
Which would be nice to say for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to mention my final detail about the wedding. I love that they talk up Jen like, oh, during the wedding processional, we've all got like a groomsman we're walking down the aisle with. Yours is Jonathan. Jonathan is the best. You're gonna love Jonathan. And the punchline is that Jonathan is a small elderly dog in a tuxedo.
Yeah, small like chihuahua, like yappy dog.
Looks near death. No, not yappy at all. Silent. Looks very sickly.
Oh man, yeah, that was a good gag. But I think at the end, because She-Hulk and Titania do have a fight, and you're like in the back of your mind, you're like, oh no, she turned into She-Hulk. The wedding is ruined. What's happening? And then the bride does like a 180 and completely is like, oh my god, She-Hulk is here, amazing. Like what? And I think she's trying to like save the day here and not let it ruin things here. But I what did you think of that?
I
Did you read that the same way that I did?
I think it's a combination of a couple things. I think she's a little drunk. And I also
Sure,
wonder
yeah.
if now that just the wedding ceremony is over, she's less of this bridezilla character she was at the beginning of the episode during like the rehearsal party.
That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
she's relaxed now. She's like, I've had enough spotlight. Now I can be happy that this cool celebrity is at my party.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was caught off guard, I think, by that heel turn there. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like that change of heart, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait, she
A
what?
face turn.
Yeah, yeah, she might not be in heels. She's probably taken off her shoes by that point and just walking around on the dance floor barefoot. But yeah, like it caught me off guard a little bit, but in hindsight, it was like, wait, that actually did kind of make sense of whether she's trying not to let that ruin her day or she has had a little bit too much to drink. I thought that was a nice touch, a nice detail with that. But all of this kind of gets wrapped up when they're wrapping up that the Mr. Immortal or whoever he says his name is. They are like wrapping up like, okay, you get the money, you get this, you get that, and I think one of them mentions like, oh, I saw like a video of him like on this website in Telehencia or something like that. And it turns out to be a website on the dark web with a whole bunch of like misogynistic, sexist, death threat stuff, just real bad stuff. And there's a ton of it all about She-Hulk. And it's Madison and Nikki that say this, and Madison is like, it's the dark
Mallory.
web. Oh, yeah.
If only
you.
Madison was back.
To be honest, if she had just been in that scene, I don't think I would have batted an eyelash.
Her too.
Right? Yeah.
I gotta say, I loved the assortment of spouses. I love that it's 7 wives and like 1 ex-husband, and the ex-husband isn't a punchline. He's like on the same level of the joke as everybody else is, just in the extravagant things they had to do when this guy died. He's like, I paid $10,000 for a New Orleans jazz funeral, and I want to be reimbursed for that.
I would too. But yeah, the Mallory is like, you know what? It's the dark web. It's probably all just smoke, right? Like, we don't need to let her know. Whereas Nikki is more, I feel like, oh, we need to warn her. Like, people are after her life. And so they do leave a phone message while Jen is off on this date with the guy that she met at the wedding. And yeah, thoughts on the intelligentsia? I'm not sure how you say it.
I think they said intelligentsia. And isn't that one of those like secret supervillain cabals in the comics? I know I've heard the word in like theory videos about what the show might be doing.
I've heard MT from the New Rockstars mention this a few times, and this, I love new Rockstars for all their Easter egg breakdowns of stuff, but every once in a while they have some theory or like, what if it's this? I'm like, rolling, it's not going to be this, or it's not going to be that, or that's too far-fetched. And this was one of them. I was not expecting this to be in here. Also, because I have no idea who the hell they are. I've never even heard of them. So I have no read on this. I have no like, oh, and this could connect to that. And all I'm just like, I have no idea what this is. But yeah, from what I understand, yeah, it is this like shadowy cabal of super villains. But I don't know if that's the case now, if it's just a dark website where people can post all sorts of nasty stuff and be like, you should go after She-Hulk and kill her. I want a sample of her blood, right? Because we do get this like mysterious picture of a laboratory now putting some what I would assume to be some like vibranium needle or some who knows what, some stronger needle to get She-Hulk's blood. But not sure where that is going yet.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of clues yet. I will say I do like the twist of turning a supervillain cabal into just like a sad internet hate group who just yells at this lady.
Yeah.
I like that it's like, what if they're social supervillains? Like, none of them have powers. They're just very, very mad and very loud. And that's who this organization is.
Yeah.
Mad, loud people.
There is stuff that happens where someone of influence, right? We already do have Titania, for example, but someone of influence who might not necessarily say things specifically to go after this person, but will lay out a case enough to put the idea in people's minds and has built up the type of following and community that will then take the information that is given and go harass these people, go swat them, or go do who knows what, do all sorts of stuff. And then when it comes out that like, oh, hey, like you like, hey, you're the one that started this, they have this like plausible deniability of like, well, I didn't say to go out and do that. But it's like, all right, dude, but like you've built up this community. It was something that happened recently in the news that I heard one of my favorite video game podcast talking about. And it was a site like this that did these things, that went after all sorts of people. And that site has been linked to a number of suicides. I think more specifically in trans people. Yeah, and there was a Twitch streamer who had a large enough following to start to fight back against these people, and brought it up with their hosting service, the people that host this website. And at first they're all like, well, like, he's not saying anything that's against all that stuff, but eventually put enough pressure on them to get that site taken down, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it is a real thing that happens. But I again don't know where this is leading exactly. Is there one person behind this? Is it just the name of the website? Will it connect to something else? Is Daredevil investigating some of this somehow? Will he tie into that somehow, some way? Who knows? So
yeah, there's a lot of pieces on the board. I was just thinking, is Abomination coming back? Are we done with Abomination? Are we going to see her dad again? Like, we've got that one illustration in the end credits that's like the big family dinner. And we did have a scene of that, but I've been curious. Like, that seems prevalent enough. Are we going to see that again? Is that going to be a recurring motif as we see her at dinner with her family, trying to put up with cousin Ched and a bunch of questions from her parents?
Incredible Hulk.
I'm mystified by Chet. I don't know exactly if Chet is going to amount to anything other than just being this like dumb cousin who's obnoxious, but like
young millennial with like 3 side hustles.
Right. Yeah. But like pleasant enough. Like Chet's like annoying, but he's not a bad guy. So you don't feel like you really have that much you can say against Chet. It's like Chet just continues to be here. I have to keep putting up with Chet at every family event.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, yeah, that was She-Hulk number 6 here. That's basically all the stuff I have to say. Do you have any last kind of things you want to add on to that, Ben?
I will say that I like the episodic nature of the show, and how at the end of one episode, the longer plot threads or character arcs that we're going to come back to. But at the end of last episode, you don't know this episode is a wedding episode. I like that. I have no real idea what next week's episode is. I think that's exciting.
Indeed. Good stuff. Well, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities.
And you guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you would like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, go watch one of our videos on that side of the screen over there. If you are listening to the podcast, we hope you enjoyed it. Please rate and review. This has been number 85 of the Whatnauts React to Core. We'll see you next time. Bye.